Struggling to deal with mages dominating the battlefield? Want to know how to counter this annoying bad boy or this woman who always gets you high? Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video I am here to tell you how to counter all the meta mages in the game so that you can play your games peacefully. So what's the wait for? Let's get straight into it. Let's start this video off with the mage with the highest win rate in all, Mr. Dracula himself, Cecilion. Cecilion is amazing in this meta if the game goes on for long enough. The amount of damage he deals also goes up, and the infinite damage scaling on him is super nice for him and super annoying for the enemies facing. He gets up to a point where he starts deleting enemies off the map in the late game. That's why he has such a high win rate in this meta. He also has a very high ban rate, 6.96 is no joke. He is the 22nd most banned hero, and I know many of you are struggling against him. Don't worry, let me tell you how to shut him down and get your wins easily. First, let's talk about item counters when Cecilion still has a chance and has not scaled up. Start building Athena's shield. This should help you take more damage, and once the game moves on, if the Cecilion is being too much, then go for Radiant. And if he is still doing too much damage, then you can go for Twilight. This should shut him down. If you're playing a squishy hero, you can't build these items for Cecilion. So build survival items like Winter Crown, Immortality and Rose Gold Meteor to get a fighting chance against him. When playing against Cecilion, picking the right heroes can also make a difference. Heroes like Chao, Hayabusa or Link who can dive into the backline and eliminate him early are great counters. Make sure to pressure Cecilion in the early game because he is much weaker before scaling. Deny him farm and force fights to keep him from comfortably stacking his passive. So hold your mid lane. I know it's the hardest lane to hold minions on, but still try to do it. And make sure to close the distance before doing anything. If you're close to him, the damage he deals with is reduced by a lot, so you can deal with him easily. Lastly, vision and awareness are crucial. Cecilion thrives in fights where enemies are grouped together, allowing him to hit multiple targets with his AoE, spread out during team fights and try to bait his skills without clumping together. Next up, we have the Nightmare Architect himself, Zhask. Zhask is an absolute lane bully, capable of holding his own with his Nightmare spawn, which deal consistent damage and zones enemy. His damage output is terrifying, and his ultimate Dominator's Descent makes him even harder to kill while dishing out massive damage. However, like most mages, Zhask struggles when caught off guard. Heroes like Gushan Bannerita or anyone with high mobility can quickly close the gap and take him down. A well-timed Purify or Winter Crown can also save you from his deadly combos, and Hanzo can just eat his spawns, which makes him a good counter for Zhask. Building items like Radiant Armor also makes him a little less oppressive. You can also build Black Ice Shield and Dominance Eyes to reduce his damage, because he too has attack speed scaling on his spawn's damage. Additionally, you can build Tough Boots and Brute Force Breastplate if his crowd control is becoming too overwhelming for you. Now let's talk about the mage with pinpoint accuracy and insane burst potential, Xavier. Xavier shines in teamfights due to his long range poke and crowd control. His ultimate, Holo Purple, can finish off enemies across the map and turns the tide of any battle. But what makes him truly strong is his ability to slow and immobilize his enemies while dishing out massive AoE damage. The key to beating Xavier is closing the gate. Heroes like Karina, Lancelot, Julian, Ling, Fanny and Halkert excel at diving Xavier and shutting him down before he can deal damage. Building Radiant Armor and Athena's shield will also help reduce his poke damage. Remember, positioning is everything about Xavier. Don't give him a chance to hit multiple enemies with his abilities. Now let's move on to one of the most annoying mages, Zhuxin. Zhuxin has been one of the most banned heroes ever since her release. She is super annoying to go up against, and as she can do almost everything, sitting at a 47.19% ban rate. I know you guys wanna know how to counter her. I don't think there's a need for you to build any magic defense items like Athena or Radiant against her. But if she is dealing too much damage on you, then you can go for Radiant to reduce that consistent damage output. Pick heroes with dash skills who can dash out of her second skill or near her to finish her off. That's the only thing you can do against her. Whenever you go into a major fight, make sure you take her out first, because she will take you out before you can even think about crucial movements. And when going into team fights, don't bunch up, don't let her get maximum stakes. Moving on to the Master of the Winds, Vale. Vale is a mage with incredible burst damage potential, thanks to his ability to enhance his skills. His crowd control and burst damage combo can easily wipe out squishy enemies in seconds. However, Vale is heavily reliant on positioning and timing, making him vulnerable to heroes with high mobility or gap closing abilities. To counter Vale, prioritize heroes like Ling, Hayabusa or Lancelot who can dive into the backline and disrupt him. Items like Athena's shield or radiant armor are great for reducing his burst damage. Also, positioning is key when playing against Vale. Spread out during fights to minimize the impact of his AoE skills. Next, we have the one-eyed mage of chaos, Cyclops. Cyclops is often underestimated, but his consistent damage output and crowd control can be devastating if left unchecked. His ultimate ensures that enemies have a hard time escaping him. And after his buff of no CD stuff, he's just super annoying to deal with. He will keep spamming skills until you are deleted twice before you can even react. To counter Cyclops, pick heroes with crowd control immunity like Martis or Lucas. High mobility heroes such as Fanny or Ling can also make it difficult for him to lend his skills. Build Radiant Armor or Tough Boot to mitigate his damage and avoid being caught out by his ultimate. Now let's chill things down a bit with Aurora. Aurora is a queen of freezing enemies, and her crowd control makes her a nightmare in team fights. Her passive ensures that she can survive, and her ultimate can wipe out an entire team if they are clumped together. The best way to counter Aurora is to build items like Tough Boots and Athena's shield and Brute Force breastplate to reduce her damage and crowd control. Heroes like Chao, Natalia or Helcurt, who can quickly take her down before she gets a chance to use her skills, are great counters. Always keep an eye on her passive to know when you can kill her and avoid clumping together in fights. Next up, the cursed puppet master, Vexana. Vexana's ability to summon her cursed puppet and deal consistent CC and AoE damage makes her a strong force in this meta. Her ultimate can also turn the tide of battles by summoning a puppet that targets the nearest enemy. And her first skill is just too annoying. It's so fast that it can break the rhythm of so many fights. To counter Vexana, pick heroes with high mobility like Lancelot or Benedetta to dodge her skills, or heroes with CC immunity like Martis and Lucas to close distance and have CC immunity. Build items like Athena's shield to reduce her burst magic damage, and prioritize taking her out in fights before she can CC combo the hell out of you. Now let's talk about Lunox, the Twilight Goddess. Lunox is one of the most versatile mages in the game, capable of dealing both burst and sustained damage while maintaining a level of survivability with a light and chaos mode. Her ability to quickly shift between dealing damage and healing makes her hard to pin down. To counter Lunox, pick heroes like Karina or Helcurt, who can burst her down before she gets a chance to heal. Build Athena's shield to reduce her burst damage and prioritize locking her down with crowd control before she can escape. If she is too overwhelming, then go for Radiant too, because she does have the penetration in her dark form. If nothing is working, then also build Twilight to have a fighting chance. If you are a squishy target, Winter Crown can save you from her burst and help you clap back at her. Finally, we have the time-traveling genius, Harith. Harith is a mage known for his mobility and sustained damage in fights. His second skill makes him elusive, while his ultimate allows him to spam his skills, dealing massive damage to anyone in his path. The key to countering Harith is to pick heroes with crowd control like Chao, Kufra or Ruby to lock him down. Build items like Dominance Eyes or Athena's shield to reduce his damage and slow his mobility. Timing is everything against Harith. Catch him during his dashes and he will be much easier to take down. So guys, what do you think? Which other mage do you want to counter? How do you think mages are performing in this meta? Comment all your answers below. So that will be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.